Yes, welcome, my dear. Yes, advantage of- So, due to high vacuum increases, the thermal efficiency and output of the plant is also increases. Okay, that is one of the major advantages. And the condensate can be reduced as the boiler feed water. So, for this particularly, condensate we are going to reusing. So, feed water over there we are going to reducing that water. Another one is that auxiliary power requirement is less. Ordinary auxiliary power requirement will be the very less compared to other type of condensers. Less amount of air is carried to the boiler. So very less amount means why we are going to less amount. So water is hot, so that we are burning of that means coal as well as steam generation is very accuracy. So that here thermal efficiency is increased as well as output of power plant is also increased. Means we are generating that more power, more energy. Okay, so another advantage. And kind of feed water can be reused. And feed water we are sending and we are going to reusing that feed waters. So can we and develop that high vacuum for suitable for medium and large power plants. These condensers we are going to use in medium and power plants. Okay, and here we can see that another surface condensers. So till now, this is the very advantages of surface. What about this disadvantages of this surface condensers is very bulky and requires more floor space, and high manufacturing and running and maintenance cost is very high. So whenever manufacturing cost is more, as well as means cost and installation is very high cost, and running cost is also very more. Okay, it requires more floor place space. That's means it occupies very more. But the one of the good advantages for this means we are going to use in the large and medium power plants. So definitely the space will be taken place. Okay, and another one is that requires a large quantity of cooling water. So the water is coming and it will go to the boiler, cooling water, cooling towers, and it is coming back. Okay, that is one thing. Uh, Another, what are the requirements of surface condensers, surface condensers? So there should be uniform distribution of exhaust stream. Only one, suppose if you are going to releasing 10 kg per second of steam, same thing throughout that system, we have to send that steam is that uniformly. And the heat transfer of surface condenser will takes place. Okay, uniform exhaust stream throughout that heat transfer. Same heat will be there throughout the entire condenser. Okay, there should not be any leakage of air into that condenser. If the air leakage will be there, uh, it is very difficult to. It is very difficult. Air leakage is there, so entire system will be collapsed. Okay, and entering and that water will come out. Okay, there should not be any leakage of condenser, air leakage. Any tube leakage also. If that steam is flowing around the tubes, if that leakage will be there, it is going to mixing with other air or water. So there is no use. And as well as the thermal efficiency and vacuum efficiency is also going on. big means a disadvantage. We can say that it is a requirement of the surface condenser, and heat transfer of the contact surface area more. So with the cooling water, so that then over there we can remove that more and more. Contact area is more with that tubes. That steam is passing and the water is falling on the tubes. So over there the heat transfer rate is high. Okay. From this water must be that there is a free deposits. There should not be any molecules, metal particles, dust particles should not be there. Otherwise, it will deposit on the tubes and the scaling is required and the efficiency drop down. Efficiency will go down. Okay, by scaling this reduces the efficiency of heat exchangers. Okay, and comparisons. So we will see that what is that jet condenser, what is that surface condensers. Cooling water and steam come in direct contact in jet condensers, whereas surface condensers, cooling water and steam do not come in direct contact. Do not come in direct contact. That is that both the things will be there. Okay, so cooling water and steam come in direct contact. Cooling water and steam do not come in direct contact. So that is that both differences. So maintenance cost is very low in jet condensers, whereas maintenance cost is high. Maintenance cost is very high in surface condensers. More suitable for low capacity plants. It is more suitable for low capacity plants, whereas it is very high capacity plants. It is very suitable. Surface condensers are very suitable. Means it is occupies a larger area and the thermal efficiency more compared to that other jet condensers also. So another point is difference point is that another condensate is not used as a boiler feed water. That is one of the disadvantages. But here condensate is directly used as a boiler as a feed water. So that condensate we are again reusing. That condensate again we are going to reuse. So that is that both the difference will be there. Another this thing points will be there. So another this jet condensers in jet condensers we are having condensation of steam due to heat transfer by mixing of steam with water. So heat transfer taken place by that mixing of that steam and water. Okay, this condensation of steam due to because of heat transfer rate. So by mixing both fluids as well as steam and as well as water, so both we are going to mix over there, and we are going to doing this condensation process mixing. So over there, the heat transfer rate taking place. There, then mixing of steam and water. Here, in this surface condenser, condensation of steam is due to heat transfer by steam to water through tubes. Over there in jet condensers, that is the difference. So the jet condenser, what is going to be happening is the steam is separate. The steam and water is mixing over there. Here, the steam and water is separate. The steam is flowing through the tubes. Over there, directly it is both are mixing. That's the difference. So it is economic. Jet condensers is economic, means it is very low cost, maintenance is very cheap, and very simple to erect this jet condensers. Whereas this surface condensers, it is very most costly, and it is complicated. Design is complicated, maintenance is complicated, repairs is complicated, and whatever this, but working is very, very beautiful comparatively than the jet condensers. And these power plants we are going to using this type of cadascals. We are going to using the large power plants, not for the small one. So that is the thing. And more power consumption in the air pump, more power consumption in the air pump. Okay, that is the thing. And less power consumption in the air pump. So air pump will be there. It will burn a lot of electricity. Whereas this in surface condensers, there is no power consumption more comparatively jet condensers. So here we will see that what are the sources of air in condensers. What are the sources? Air in the condensers. Where the air is entering into the condensers. We will see step by step each one point we will discuss. The boiler feed water contains dissolved air. Yes, air will be there always. Whenever feed water to the boiler, we are going to sending water is mixing with the air. So from this boiler we are carried off by steam and turbine finally to the condenser. Without air we are going to sending, we have to send to that turbine. That is here. That water we have to remove that one. When whenever in boiler, whenever the water is going to be getting the steam. Another one is that air is going to leak through the joints. If you have anything small welding joints are there, that's why the air is going to be leaking and packing and glands into the condenser where the pressure is below the atmospheric pressure. So joints, the air may be leak and packing and glands into the condenser where the pressure is below the atmosphere. So where packing and this one over there, whenever below atmospheric pressure, these two things will happen. Packing and glands will be there, happening over there. So that is that one of the sources we can say that this is also disadvantage. So air is dissolved in water, is carried out in the jet condensers. Yes, in the jet condensers, what we are going to doing. So both air and steam we are mixing in that jet condensers. Whereas here this surface condensers we are not going to mixing it separate. The steam is circulating to the tubes and water is flowing on the tubes. So it is what is going and touching the tubes. That is the main difference of that one. So another this thing. What are the effects will be there? What are the effects of the air leakage? So if that air is going to be leakage, what is going to be happening? Yes, there is a low thermal efficiency. Yes, automatically heat is reduced, heat transfer rate is also reduced. There is no working on that. The Rankine cycle cannot be worked properly. Heat input and heat gain and work done will not be there. Due to all these effects, what is going to be happening? Low thermal efficiency will be there, leakage of air. So, and then back pressure will be developed. Whenever air is going to be leaked, back pressure is developed on the turbine and it will affect on that low thermal efficiency. Low thermal efficiency reduces the rate of condensation of steam because air is having poor thermal conductivity, reduces the overall heat transfer from the steam air mixer, reduces the rate of condensation process. So condensation process is reduced. Why? Because of air is going to be leaked. Air is going to be leaked. So because of this poor thermal conductivity, reduces the overall heat transfer from that steam air mixer. Okay, that is one of the disadvantages. That means effects will be there. Another, the presence of air in the condenser increases the corrosive action. Whenever air will be there, moisture content will be there, moisture content will be there. It will affect on that system of that all condensers shell will be damaged, tubes will be damaged, baffle plate will be damaged, circulating water systems will be there, walls will be damaged, and all this corrosive action it will be damaged. Okay, and how that methods are there for obtaining that maximum vacuum conditions. Maximum vacuum. So air pump will be there. It is very most important pump in that power plants. So that air to be extracted, and water makeup pump will be there. Feed water pump will be there. Condensate feed pump will be there. There are near about 4 to 5 pumps we are going to use in our steam power plant. Okay. So what is that? Extract the air and the other non considerable gases from the condenser to maintain that desired vacuum. So we are going to maintain that desired vacuum. Otherwise, it won't give that thermal efficiency more. So another thing is that wet pump. So in that wet pump removes mixture of condensate and air with that other non-condensable gases. Other condensable gases we are not going to allow. We are going to remove that mixture of the condensate. So wet pump, what it is going to be doing? So steam and water is going to be mixing now. That mixing, sorry, that mixing is will not be allowed by that wet pump. That's our dry pump. It will remove the air and other than non-condensable gases. So dry pump is going to be removed by that air, and wet pump is going to be removed by that mixture of condensate. These two things, wet pump and dry pump, is very most advantageous. Okay. Another method of obtaining maximum vacuum. How we are going to obtain that maximum vacuum? We are going to using generally steam jet condensers, ejectors. We are going to use steam. We are going to see. Over that we are increasing that velocity of the steam, and we are going to see. And over there again we are going to nozzle will be there. With that nozzle we are increasing that velocity of the steam. After that, what is going to happen? That steam is entering into that diffuser, and again it is the velocity is going to be increased in that. So that finally we are going to sending whatever required velocity we are going to attaining for to strike on that blades of the turbine. So air is going to be entering into the condenser. One pipe will be there. Diffuser will be there. Steam is entering into that first nozzle, second nozzle. We can say that this is the diffuser. Also, we can say that this is that. Indirectly, we can say that this is that second nozzle of the turbine. So, method of obtaining maximum vacuum will be there. That is de-aerated feed water, and another one is airtight joints. Okay, airtight joints. Another one is that vacuum condenser efficiency. We can these two de-aerated feed water is defined as the process of removable non-condensable gases. Gases will also come now. Whenever combustion process occurs, it will mingle with steam, it will mingle with water, or it will mingle with condensate, and it is going to be giving non-condensable gases. Okay, this removal of non-condensable gases is called as a de-aerated feed water. Okay, generally this de-aerated feed water will be help for maintaining the better vacuum in the condenser. It will help that better vacuum in the condenser, and as well as controlling corrosion of steel and the piping of the steam power plant. So it will avoid corrosion effect. It will avoid corrosion due to that maintaining a better vacuum. So if the air is zero, if you are going to maintaining that vacuum, if the air is zero, there is nothing but there is no moisture content in that shell. So that we are going to avoiding this vacuum, means we are avoiding corrosion, and at the same time we can control and as well as control that corrosion of the, and not only that condenser, we are going to controlling the corrosion uh, to the condenser tubes and baffle plates. Okay, and airtight joints should be there. Why? Because air likes thermal efficiency is going to be reduced, and vacuum efficiency it is reduced, and reduced proper workmanship. So that workmanship also it is going to be reduced. Means it is required, and always we will go for welding and other similar technical works while making that joints. If you are using proper workmanship, means proper skilled workers, so there is no corrosion, and we can avoid the corrosion, as well as pipes and shells, condenser tubes, we can avoid it. There is no problem for that one. So that is that maintained by such a proper inspection from time to time. That is that one of the good advantage for that one. So how we can develop this? We can develop vacuum and condenser efficiency. Vacuum and condenser efficiency. The minimum absolute pressure at the steam inlet of the condenser is the saturation pressure corresponding to the temperature of the condensed steam. So generally we are going to calling this vacuum is called as ideal vacuum. Why we are going to calling as this ideal vacuum is this is this steam inlet of the condenser saturation pressure corresponding to the temperature of the condensed steam. So for this cause only we are going to saying as ideal vacuum. In this maximum vacuum that can be obtained in a condensing plant with no air present at the temperature. No air present at the temperature. The pressure in the condenser is greater than the ideal pressure by that amount of by the amount of equal to the pressure of the air present in the condenser. Another thing is the ratio of actual vacuum efficiency. I'm telling you, it will be low. If it is like that, it is going to be gone down. Automatically low thermal efficiency. So the ratio of actual vacuum to the ideal vacuum is known as vacuum efficiency. What we are discussing is efficiency. And actual pressure in the condenser is greater than the ideal pressure. So it is always greater than the ideal pressure. Ideal pressure means imaginary pressure. So automatically it will be there. So it is greater than that ideal pressure. Suppose you think that ideal pressure is 10 bar, whereas actual pressure will be that 15 bar will be there. So that is we have to take care of in this condensers. Okay. Next, let's see. And so if efficiency, how we are going to calculating this vacuum efficiency, we will discuss next class. Thank you, my dear friends. I'll come back again.